Welcome back, everyone, as we go into session 2, presenting your best self. Michaela's going to share Ian's video to get us started here, and then Stella is going to be joining us to present. Thanks so much.
What's up, guys? It's Ian with Kentucky Spin, and these are 5 tips for presenting your best self. Let's get to it. Man, where is this interview room? This is it right here. Hey, I'm ready for... Oh. Is this the right... Hello? Is this the right interview room? Okay, next candidate, come on in. Yeah, I'm here for the job interview. Have a seat. All right, Mr. Ian. Why don't you tell me about your... Yes, I'm really excited about your company. I heard that it started in 1812, and then it also grew in the 90s exponentially, and then I also know that you guys took over a bunch of Western states, and maybe even expanded to Mexico and Japan, and I'm really excited to take over, and maybe I can even become one of the greatest employees ever of all time, become the manager and then the president and grow the company, and then even build a chain and spin off of that, and keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Okay, Mr. Rosser, why don't you tell me what your strengths are?
Well, for starters, I bench press like 335 pounds, 400 pounds on the weekends. I'm also a world time champion boxer. What else can I say? I mean, I'm like a world-class sprinter.
Okay, why don't you tell me what your weaknesses are?
Well, I'm not really good at anything. I'm usually late. I multitask and I usually get distracted. I play a lot of video games on the job. I pick my nose and then wipe it underneath the desk wherever I'm at. I'm rude to customers and stuff. I quit with a moment's notice. Those are just some of the things that top my weaknesses.
Yes, sir. Well, it was good meeting you today, and I'll be seeing you soon. We'll let you know what we decide on doing for the hiring process.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I was just wondering, what'd you think? Like, you think I'm hired, or? Oh, well, I mean, you just left seconds ago. We haven't even looked at all the applications yet. I'll get back to you, though. Just check in, maybe in a few days or so. All right, I'll see you later. All right. Yes, sir. Hey, man, did I do a good job? You think I did a good job? Yeah, no, you did. You did a great job, and I'm looking forward to. We'll see how this process unfolds. All right, I'll see you later. All right then. All right, cool. I'll do that. All right then. All right. Yes, sir. Do you have any update? Sir, I don't have any update. I just, it's literally been 5 seconds since you've knocked on the door. All right, guys, all jokes aside, let's get into the seriousness of what this content is really trying to say. And these are the 5 things that I think are really important before you go into your session. So number 1 is to arrive on time and be ready to go. That's really important for not just interview, but also when you're actually on the job if you were to get it. Just consistently stay on time and go above and beyond in your duties to make sure that you keep that job. One thing I wanted to add to the getting on time and giving yourself enough time piece that was kind of covered in the beginning when I was walking around lost trying to find where the interview was, and I was late and it was all dark because everybody had left. That was kind of the joke. But where I was going with that is that it's important to actually leave yourself plenty of time to get there, and get there not only on time but early, 30 minutes to an hour early, so that you give yourself enough time to find parking, if there's any traffic, or if you get lost or anything like that. So that's a really important thing to do. So I encourage you, depending on how far you are from the interview location, just kind of try to plan that out and give yourself an hour extra, 30 minutes to an hour extra, to do those types of things. And so I want to make sure that I covered that. Tip number 2, make a positive first impression. That's really important. A lot of people will remember your first impression, and there are ways to alter that if it doesn't go perfectly, but you still want to do the best thing you can to give that first impression so that employers remember you in a positive way. And even if they maybe decide that they can't hire you this particular time or what have you, they can recommend you to someone else who is hiring, or they will go above and beyond to look for you again if they have another need to fill in the company. So these are things to think about as you're getting into the world of employment. Number 3, it is important to show interest in the company or the job. So do the best you can to, in the interview, show that you are not just doing the job just to do it, but you are passionate and you would like to do the job. And that will make you look differently and maybe even give you an advantage when it comes to other candidates. Number 4, practice interview skills with friends and family, and specifically on strengths and weaknesses, and getting comfortable answering that question, because in most interviews, you get asked that question, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So just give it some practice and think about what are some good answers, and kind of work through that with somebody that you trust. Tip 5, following up is really important. And so make sure that you do that and follow up in a reasonable amount of time. I know I did the joke in the video, but give it some time, give it a few days, up to a week or so, whatever seems respectful and reasonable, and give them a call and ask to speak to the hiring manager at whatever business you're applying for, and just speak with them and see if you can figure out if your application was reviewed, if they've had time to interview, or they finished interviewing candidates, things like that, to kind of get sort of a timetable on if they've hired someone or if they're still looking or what have you, and follow up on the process. And also it helps to just do a thank you note, or maybe even call and give a thank you over the phone, just to let people at the company know, regardless of the outcome, you appreciate being interviewed and you appreciate being considered. Okay guys, it's Ian with Kentucky Spin. I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope you enjoy your session. Until next time, see ya.
Hey everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back from the break. And I'm telling you, I don't know about y'all, but every time I watch Ian and his videos, I just crack up. He is hysterical, and the hair, I can't get past the hair. I don't know if you all crack up over that hair and that little wig that he's wearing, but it's just hysterical. So I hope you all enjoyed that. That was just great. I am Stella Beard with Kentucky Spin. You will probably see my hands a lot because I do tend to talk with my hands. So I'll try to keep them down low where it won't distract you all. But in session 2, we are going to be talking about presenting your best self. And as I said, I'm Stella Beard. I have 4 children. I live in a little town called Dunville, Kentucky. You probably have never heard of that before, and that's okay. but I live on a farm with chickens and cows and my family. And so I'm excited to be sharing with you all today. My son Clayton is 24. He has a disability. And I'll be talking a little bit about him throughout the presentation. But we are going to get started with presenting your best self. I'm going to refer a little bit back and forth from Ian's video because I think it will refresh your memory on a little stuff we're going to be talking about with the PowerPoint today. But that way it'll bring you back to what he said about it, and it should make it a little easier for everyone to remember. But first of all, I love this picture with the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. And I can just remember from that show, him running around saying, I'm late for a very important date. And I know a lot of times we do seem to run late. Can I have anybody have their hand up saying, yes, I tend to run late at times. But what we want to do, Carrie raised her hand. I love it. That's true. We do run late. And every now and then it's okay. But for an interview, it is so important, guys, that you arrive on time and be ready to go. Ian was late for his interview, wasn't he? Because he walked in that door and guess what? There was not a soul in there. No one was there because they had been waiting on Ian and Ian never showed up. So the rule is 20 minutes, arrive 20 minutes early. And that will be so great. It would be better to be much earlier than late. So getting it right on that first day says a whole lot. Kelly talked about first impressions. And if you're late for your interview, that is not a great first impression. You never know what can happen on your way to doing it. I try to get up early. My little heater at my feet keeps going on, so I keep turning it off. I try to get up early, get dressed, get prepared, and ready for whatever my day is going to bring. There are sometimes, though, that doesn't always work that way, and that's okay. But please do your very, very best to arrive on time and be ready to go. Have certain things in hand with you. Have a copy of your resume, even if you've already sent it electronically to them. Bring that resume. Also, important documents you may need. You may need to ask your parents for these, but like your driver's license. If you don't have a driver's license, you can go to the DMV office, the Department for Vehicle. I can't think of what that is now, but anyway, it's where you go get your driver's license, and you can get what's called a personal ID. My son Clayton is 24. He doesn't drive, but he has a personal ID, which looks just like a driver's license. Has your picture on it, has your address. It has everything that you need to show to someone that who you say you are. So that's real important. So ask your parents if you don't have that right now. And if you don't even have a wallet or a purse, I would go ahead and recommend that you start carrying that. Go ahead and start carrying a wallet, get you a personal ID, get used to keeping track of some important things like that. And ladies, if you don't carry a purse, I would encourage you to do that. It just gives you an excuse to go get you a new purse if you don't have one, or borrow one from someone. But that way you can keep track of all of your personal items yourself. That's showing independence. And I think that is really, really important that you do that. You might need a copy of your Social Security card too. So ask your parents for that. The other thing that might be important for you to bring to that interview is a notebook and pen. A lot of times we just whip out our phone and type in our notes in our phone. I would recommend, though, at a face-to-face interview that you keep your phone put away so it's not a distraction, and then use a piece of paper, or even ask if you can record so you can write. So later you can go back and listen to maybe some of the things that were told in the interview that you might forget. So there are a lot of different options that you can use. And that's okay. Just make sure that you do bring some of those important documents with you to the meeting. So again, we're going to go back to making that positive first impression. When Ian walked in his session, his interview. I'm sorry if my dogs are barking. I apologize for that. When he walked in to that meeting, to that interview, he had the boombox on his shoulder and he was rocking out and all of that. That's not a great first impression, is it? So the one thing you want to do is you want to smile. You want to sit up straight when you sit down. You want to make eye contact with everyone that's there. And then you want to talk about your resume a little bit. So that's why it's good to have a copy for yourself and also an extra copy that you could present and hand to them. And you want to be upbeat about it. You want to be excited about those positive things that you're going to be talking about with your work experiences at the interview. You have a positive first impression. You only have one time to make a first impression. So don't forget that. But be someone who answers questions with more than one word answers, like yeah, no, yes. Make sure that you're specific with your question, the answers to the questions that they ask you. And someone who demonstrates that shows that he's listening, and you can share information and ideas. And that's really, really important. Also, ask questions for clarification or follow-up if you need to. That is so important. And remember that nonverbal communication is critical in an interview. And what that really means is if you're, distracted by something, if you're looking down like this and someone is talking to you, that is not good. You want to make that eye contact. You want to look them straight in the eye. You want to make sure that that posture is good, that your shoulders are back, and that you have a smile on your face. And guys, even though we're wearing masks right now, we can still smile behind that mask because our eyes say it all. When you're smiling, even behind a mask, your eyes are dancing. So remember that, even when you're out in public doing things. The other thing I want to talk to you about is being positive. Be positive. I love this little B here. Always have a positive attitude. Don't bring up negative experiences from past jobs or volunteer positions. You must speak highly of past experiences. You want to be the kind of person that someone else wants to be around. You want to be friendly, engaging, enthusiastic. And the enthusiasm that you show and display on your interview can make the difference between getting the job and not getting the job. So being positive is so, so critical. Also, a candidate who can demonstrate a positive attitude and eagerness to tackle the job will have an advantage over one who displays an attitude viewed by the employer as negative. So you may not have all the experience or qualifications for that job opportunity, but if you go in there with a great attitude, a willingness to learn, a willingness to be teachable, you will make all the difference in the world that way. And it could be the answer to you either getting the job or not getting the job. If you remember Ian's attitude when he was laying, on the floor and he was all negative, no one wants to be around that. And then he also took it to the extreme when he was so excited about what I really knew about the job, and it was created in 1912, and oh my goodness, la la la. You remember that part? That was way over the top. You got to try to find a balance there and be able to bring your best self to the table that day. So practice what you want to say over and over. The more you practice, the more confident you will feel, because practice truly does make perfect. It shows that you're progressing. It shows that you took the time to research the company. That is valuable too. And also, practice those interview skills with your family members or your bestie. Someone that will sit there and be honest with you and ask you questions and say, hey, Stella, you really need to work on this. Or, hey, Stella, you did that so great. I love the way you smiled when you were talking. So pretend, role play, go back and forth with someone that you know and let them give you that constructive criticism that you need to make the interview process more real. that really, really will help that you're practicing before you walk through those doors. And show interest in the company and the job. Unlike Ian, don't go in there and talk 90 miles an hour and act like you know everything. Ask questions yourself. And some of those questions could be like, understanding what the company's mission and purpose is all about. Also, what do they value? You don't want to walk into the interview, if you're going for an interview at McDonald's, who is known for their Big Mac, and walk in talking about Burger King and the Whopper. So you want to make sure that you've done your research enough that you understand the company, their policies and procedures, but also, be honest and say, hey, what would my responsibilities be during this job? Those are good questions to ask up front, so then you don't have to worry about it later. So we're going to talk a few minutes now about your strengths and weaknesses. And those are very, very valuable things to know about yourself. And, a strength is something that you're good at. I feel like one of my strengths is I'm a singer. I love to sing, and I've been singing the majority of my life. And so I feel like that is one of my strengths. A weakness is something that we possibly need help with or that we struggle with. And so these are things that you need to be aware of about yourself. And sometimes one of my weaknesses is sometimes I'm not a great listener. I love to talk. So I have to learn how to not talk as much and then listen to those around me. Something that we did for Clayton that I thought was really, really good is we created something that we like to call an info sheet, or a sheet that tells about his strengths and weaknesses, and also talks about what he's good at. And some of the things we listed on that were things like, Clayton is really good at being dependable, being on time. He is very hardworking. He's independent. He's highly social. So these are things that we included on kind of like his resume that we wanted employers to know about. Some of the things that he struggles with, though, are weaknesses. We put reading, math, counting money, managing his time. So those may be things that he would need help with on the job. And so being upfront about that was really, really good. But they may ask you that. They may say, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So be ready and prepared to answer those questions if they do come up in that interview. And let's say maybe you don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are. That's okay. Ask someone who's close to you. Ask your parents. Ask your best friend. Ask someone, if you already have a job, maybe ask them what they think your skills, abilities, and talents are. And so this is something really important that you can do on your own. Those people that are around you, because you might even be surprised some of the things that they may say about you that you had not even thought about. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses, some of these that you can consider are you reliable? That means, can somebody count on you? Being reliable is a huge strength that is so important. And sometimes we don't find that a lot today. Are you an effective communicator? What that pretty much means is, can you talk to people? Are you pretty good at talking to people and saying what you think needs to be said? I think those are really important things. Are you an active listener? Remember, I said this is something that I struggle with. So I think it's important to know that. Do you listen and respect different points of view? It's not always what we think is right, but we need to be able to listen to others and see what their point of view is. And do you participate? And this means, are you prepared? Are you getting involved in activities? And are you a regular communicator? Or do you just stand off by yourself on the job? So these are things that are so important for you to begin to consider. Some other strengths and weaknesses to consider. Are you cooperative? Do you work well with other members of the team? Are you flexible? That means, do you adapt easily when some things change? And if that's something you struggle with, that would be a weakness. That would be something that you possibly need to work on. Sorry, there's a lot of activity all of a sudden here at my house. Are you committed, responsible, and dedicated? Are you a problem solver? Do you know how to fix something when it's broken or when there's an issue? Or do you always wait for somebody to tell you to do something? This is something that we all probably could work a little bit on, taking that initiative. And are you respectful? Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Those are things that we really need to work on sometimes. And instead of just saying, yeah, no, having respect, it means that'll go a long way on the job. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and they sometimes take time to know them and to figure out what your strength is and what your weakness is. And it might be helpful to reach out to someone you know or trust that will help you develop a plan for working on some skills that maybe you see, wow, I need help in this area. I need to work on this skill set. I might need a little more help learning how to talk to people better or learning how to listen. And then invite someone close to you, someone you know and trust, to work with you on the areas that maybe you do see that is a weakness in your skill set and that you want to learn more about. But being teachable and learning new strategies and becoming a good team member takes time, guys. But you all can do it. I believe in you, and I know with a little bit of time and effort, you will be able to be the best version of yourself. So know your strengths and weaknesses and put a positive spin on things. We all have weaknesses, but the key is to acknowledge your weaknesses and then have a plan. Something that I have in my later years in life that I've come to do on a regular basis now that is hard is owning up to your mistakes. Even when you mess up, don't do the blame game. Don't blame somebody else that was, well, this is the reason why. Just say, you know what? I messed up. I apologize. Can I have another chance? And that's okay to be able to do that. To things shows your character, and it also shows your maturity. Means that, even though you might be a teenager, you are learning adult things right now. And I think that is so important. So you can also make your weaknesses sound like an asset to your employer. So Rhonda was talking about earlier how, with her OCD, she can become a perfectionist. Well, we would a lot of times think, oh my gosh, that's just, I can't change my ways. I'm always going to be a perfectionist. But what you can say is, just like she said, that makes her very detail oriented, and she gets the job done right. So these are positive things or a spin that you can put on them to make things go a lot better for you. So be positive. I love that sun. We're not seeing much sun today, but that smiling sun makes me happy. So here's some examples. If they say, what are your strengths that you can say? You can say, well, I'm a really good listener. Don't get me wrong. I'm a good talker too, but I think listening skills are even more important. I'm also a good organizer. It doesn't make any difference if it's organizing my closet or a trip with my family. I love all the planning and organizing that goes into it. That's great. So an answer, what are your weaknesses? A positive spin on it, remember? I like things to go according to my plans. So when something comes up that may make my plans go off schedule, it sometimes stresses me out. But what I've learned about myself is that coming up with a plan B helps me a lot. So if I go ahead and plan for a potential problem, then I don't stress out at all because I have a good idea of what to do next. It's always good to have a plan B. Believe it or not, in the session that we're doing right now, Kentucky Spin, thank you, Rhonda, Kentucky Spin has a plan A, B, C, and D. So what we have is if somebody's internet goes out, we have the next plan B ready. We have everything all organized already of what we're going to do in case something doesn't work out according to plan. Like the phone ringing in the background, I pushed the button to turn it off. I think that was funny, of course. That was a great timing, though. So then after the interview, what are you going to do? Guess what? Write the person who interviewed you a thank you letter, making sure that you thank them for saying, thank you for taking the time to interview me. I really enjoyed meeting you. Let them know that you're still interested in the job, possibly not as quick as Ian did, like a minute afterwards. You don't want that, but make sure that they know that you're still interested in the job. Let them know you look forward to hearing from them. And then don't forget to give them your contact information again. That is so valuable and so important. Your email and phone number, so they have it readily at their fingertips, so that they can reach out to you when they need to. That is so very important and valuable. And believe it or not, guys, people don't write handwritten notes anymore. And you say, well, my handwriting isn't good. That's okay. My son Clayton doesn't write very well. So what I do is I transcribe for him. That means I will sit at the computer and I type what he wants to say in his words. I don't change it to the way that I think it should sound. I type it in his words, and then he has his version of a handwritten letter, and then he signs his name to it, and then we mail it. I think that is just as good. So if you're sitting there going, but my handwriting is not good, that's okay. Have someone type it for you, exactly the way you want to say it. Or if you can type it yourself, type the letter yourself. And then my dogs, they have never been this way before. Oh my goodness. Then you sign your name to it. I think that is a perfect way of handling it. So that follow-up, don't get upset. Yes.
I think it's so important to do that, because just like you said, no one does that anymore. And just, you know how it makes you feel if someone checks in on you or sends a text or just says, have a great day. A letter thanking somebody, we always hear negative things first, no matter what it is in our life. Those things everybody hears everywhere they go. But a thank you and a moment that you took, regardless of how you come up with it, that you have took time to do that, and it makes them feel really well, because you don't get that anymore. And that will definitely make you stand out from everybody else. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Sorry, I was getting my dogs out of my office for some reason. They just went a little crazy. That is so true, Rhonda. And a great example is yesterday we did a webinar, and we got a follow-up from that webinar, and it was so kind and so sweet. And the lady was saying, I had such a great conversation with you all. It was so great. And it just made my day. So the smallest little thing can make all the difference in the world. So, but again, don't get upset if you don't hear back from them right away. Don't walk in a minute after the interview and say, hey, have you made a decision? Wait about a week to contact and check in on the position if you've not heard back from them. But then be confident about whatever has happened. Be confident and be patient. They may not let you know, but that more than likely, most employers let you know right away, within a week or so, whether or not you got the job or you didn't get the job. And if you didn't get the job, I'm going to teach you all a new word, and I want you all to say it out loud wherever you are. It's called next. Okay, so on the count of three, you're going to say next. 1, 2, 3. Next. That means go on to the next job interview. It's okay. Not everything is going to be perfect, but do your best, and that is all that matters. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and we have another video for y'all. Thank you all so much for listening.
And if you could not start it just yet, Michaela, I just wanted to tell everyone that we're going to have a little trivia coming up here. And the prize will be bragging rights in the class. But keep track of, see how many of you all can get right here. And just for fun, and see who gets the most right. So you'll be able to celebrate that today. But Michaela is going to go ahead and get us started. And thank you so much, Michaela.
Presenting your best self Virtual trivia. Question 1. Getting it right on what day can help you land the job? Question 2. If you do this, there's a good chance you won't get the job no matter how well the interview goes. Question 3. Blank and attitude are important parts of making a positive first impression. Question 4. Focus on your blank, not your blank. Question 5. Have someone blank you on responses to interview questions. Question 6. Know your blank and blank. Share them if asked. Question 7. Put a positive blank on things. Question 8. True or false? Writing a thank you letter is a good idea. Question 9. Thank the interviewer for their blank and say, I look forward to hearing from you. Question 10. Don't forget to include your blank blank. Get ready for the answers. Drum roll, please. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Getting it right on the day of the interview can help you land the job. Each correct answer gets 2 points. If you show up late, there's a good chance you won't get the job no matter how well the interview goes. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Enthusiasm and attitude are important parts of making a positive first impression. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Have someone coach you on responses to interview questions. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Share them if asked. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Put a positive spin on things. Each correct answer gets 2 points. True. Writing a thank you letter is a good idea. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Thank the interviewer for their time and say, I look forward to hearing from you. Each correct answer gets 2 points. Don't forget to include your contact information. You've won today's bragging rights.